Election day is right around the corner, and all 13 town council precincts are up for re-election this year. And before the election day comes, there will be some debates. I'm Sarah Colvin, and today in studio, welcome Rob Sennott, a former publisher of the Barnstable Patriot, who will be serving as moderator for those debates. Rob, welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. So let's talk a little bit. Obviously, the Patriot has been around for a very long time.
1830.
1830s.
Yep.
A very long time. So many elections have been covered. Talk to me a little bit about the tradition of election coverage with the Patriot.
The Patriot has always cared about informing our readers on local affairs, and that includes how we are governed. And when my wife Tony and I came to the Patriot in the summer of 1994, David Still, our editor at the time, and I talked, and we said, hey, there's a town television channel. Why don't we do live debates? And that was the genesis of covering the town council elections. And then we went a little bit further when there were ballot questions that affected the whole Cape. And at that point, we used Terry Duenas in what is now Cape Media Center to talk on the land bank and other issues which affect our entire region. And at the Patriot, we always do profiles. We always make certain that our recommendations are made for casting said ballots well in advance of the election, so that there's an opportunity for our readers to write in with their opinions on our selects from an editorial standpoint.
Do you have a tradition of making endorsements for either ballot questions or candidates?
Yes. And the theory there is that we cover our town. We presumably know a little bit more about the workings of government and about those who vie for seats to represent us, so yes, we do. We do not do endorsements, for example, for the United States Senate.
Right.
Because there are other people who do, frankly, a better job covering that than
But
we
for
do.
our local candidates.
But for our local candidates, yes, indeed.
What is the process of coming up with a recommendation? Is it kind of a group effort? Do you all, or is it one person who kind of makes those suggestions?
Well, when I was the publisher of the paper, it would be David and Ed Maroney, who is now the editor, and I would sit around after interviewing each of them. This was not a pig in a poke. This was based on conversations and reporting.
Indeed, very, very important. And so, of course, this year is kind of unusual because we don't just have half of the council being elected. We have all 13 precincts. Now, of course, not everyone is running with a competitor, but certainly there's a lot to cover with when all of those precincts
yes,
are up for election.
And the math is that 6 are contested seats and 7 are not. But we profile even those uncontested seats.
Absolutely, because I think it's important, especially as many of them are new faces. You want to know who's going to be representing your precinct.
Precisely.
So talk to me a little bit about the upcoming debates. We have a number of candidates going back and forth with each other. What's the format of the debates like?
Well, firstly, Election Day is November 5, and the debates are Monday of next week and Thursday of next week, which is to say the 21st and the 24th. We'll start out with Precinct 11 on Monday night with June Daly and Phil Wallace, followed, each by the way has an hour, Sarah, followed by Tom Rugo versus Eric Steinhilber, and then Deb Converse and Will Crocker will round out that evening. On Thursday, we had invited both Jim Crocker and Antonia Blanca, but she declined our invitation, so we may sneak in some information during that first hour on the ballot question of Pilgrim nuclear facility and whether or not it should be closed. And then Don Blind and John Norman, that's Precinct 9, followed by Jim Tinsley and Tim Fiera at 8 o'clock.
Exactly. And do you stick with those starting times? Because I would assume that perhaps some people don't want to watch every single debate. They just want to watch the candidates that are in their precinct. So they could tune in at 7 or 8 o'clock, and the debate will begin at that time.
We try to stay tight to our particular deadlines. In the formats, I host. We have a 3-minute opening statement from each of the candidates. We have a panel of 2 of the Patriot. One is one of our reporters, Sarah, and then another who is Ed Maroney, our editor. And it's a Q&A back and forth to each of the candidates. And then we have an opportunity toward the end for each candidate being given the option of asking a direct question of his or her opponent. And that can produce some fireworks, if you will.
Absolutely.
And then a closing statement, and that's 2 minutes apiece.
Now, do you have a set series of questions that you ask each candidate, or are the questions kind of tailored to the issues in their particular precincts?
Oh, very much townwide and precinct involved, because it is a delicate balance, because we are a unit, a town, but we are village-based, and in this case, precinct-based. And there are issues that might affect West Barnstable that have nothing to do with Cotuit.
Exactly.
For example. So the questions are really done by both our editorial people.
Indeed, and it's certainly important to find out where people stand on that, but also see how well they'll work with the rest of the council, as well as deal with issues that are town-wide.
Yeah, and I think what television does, as you well know, is give an opportunity for body language, tone of voice that you don't get from a written document, and I think people are looking at compatibility, if you will.
Certainly.
And a number of other sort of soft personality or character traits that can come out when the camera's on and the questions are being asked.
Exactly, and with the written word, of course, you have time to edit and you can run it by people before it gets out there, but with kind of a one-on-one live TV questioning, that's you.
No place to hide.
No place to hide. We well know that here on
Yes.
Channel 18. So, Rob, what else about the debates can you tell us? I'm sure this is. Can people come and watch this in person as well as tune in on Channel 18?
Yes, they are filmed upstairs in the town council chambers. Adequate seating. There's always an admonition that no cheering or harassing of candidates.
No heckling.
No heckling. Is permitted, but yes, and we encourage that, and frankly most of the candidates bring close friends, family members, that sort of thing.
Absolutely, and so that's taking place next week on Monday and Thursday, the 21st and the 24th, starting at 7 o'clock, or 6 o'clock rather.
6
6 o'clock. Very nice. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming by and talking to us, and we will look forward to hearing from
our
all
pleasure,
of our
and thanks very much for this opportunity and for carrying the debates next week.
Thank you very much. Rob Sennott, former publisher of the Barnstable Patriot, will be moderating the debates held at Town Hall next Monday and Thursday, starting at 6 p.m. I'm Sarah Colvin.
Thank you.
Excellent.